Are you enjoying this podcast? Well, you have KUOW members to thank for that. KUOW members make the trusted local journalism and storytelling you hear on this show possible. Become a member today and help support the production of this podcast. It only takes a minute. Make a donation at KUOW.org or follow the link in the show notes. And thanks.
You're listening to Soundside. I'm Diana Opong. When some people picture political conventions, they might imagine a grand stage lit up with dazzling lights and a seemingly never-ending stream of speeches, and a sea of enthusiastic supporters cheering their hearts out, waving lots and lots of American flags. Since Monday, the Democratic National Convention has been underway in Chicago. There have been speeches and high-profile moments like a visit from Michelle Obama and her husband, former President Barack Obama.
It couldn't be more obvious. Of the two major candidates in this race, only Kamala Harris truly understands the unseen labor and unwavering commitment that has always made America great.
At least that's what you see on TV, but there's a whole other world at the DNC. Beyond the big speeches and VIP appearances, there's a bustling undercurrent of activity. From vibrant panel discussions and quirky merchandise stalls to a crowd that's anything but predictable, there's a lot more happening than meets the eye. That's the story we wanted to learn more about. So we called up an old friend, the one, the only, Mike Davis. He's the theater reporter for WBEZ in Chicago and the former arts and culture reporter here at KUOW. Mike, it's so good to have you back on Soundside.
It is so good to be here.
So, Mike, you are a theater reporter and you're not usually covering politics, but you're in the heart of this choreographed and rehearsed political event. It's kind of like theater, right? Kind of?
It's kind of, I would call it political theater for sure, but I will say when I go to a play, I don't have to get pat down by Secret Service first. So, it's a little different.
Just a little bit. So what's the show? What's the show like? What's the scene like?
I mean, the scene is electric. Like, there's so many people. I didn't realize that the Democratic National Convention was actually a convention. And I know that might sound wild to some people, but I always thought that it was like the speeches. You turn on your TV, you see people in an arena and they're talking. Well, right across from that arena is like one of the biggest convention centers that I've ever been in my life. And in that convention center, you have caucuses, you have briefings, you have all of these political luncheons, you have Demapalooza, which has 2 performance stages, a live DJ.
Did you say Demapalooza? Sorry to interrupt. I've never heard that before.
You are good. They called it Demapalooza.
I love it.
When I walked into Demapalooza, I thought I was at Comic-Con. I am.
Oh.
No joke. That's how it felt. That's what it looked like in the panels and all of the ancillary stuff happening. If you've ever been to Comic-Con, just picture the political version of that. And that's what this is.
Okay, that's wild. Beyond the politicians, who's actually showing up at the DNC? What's the audience like at this convention?
That's what I wanted to know. Like, who comes to this? But the truth is, all sorts of people come. Regular people come. They're registering people to vote at the convention. They're doing trainings for like organizers. Like you want to help with campaigns, you want to volunteer, you want to learn how, you can come find out. So there's all sorts of people from all walks of life that end up at this convention. It's actually amazing.
So the convention is open to the public, and you've been immersing yourself in all of the behind-the-scenes action at the convention. You wrote about the vendors for WBEZ. What's been catching your eye among all of the convention swag and stalls?
I think what really caught my eye is that a lot of the vendors are just regular people. And I think that's what really drew me to the convention. Like, who's there that's not a politician? Who doesn't have that sort of skin in the game, you know? So I met a black beekeeper. He's not political at all. He's at the DNC with live bees, trying to sell people honey products, right?
Wow.
And it was just, there's just so many characters like that I came across at the DNC.
What's the story behind some of the more unexpected finds or people that you spoke to?
I spoke to this woman. Her name is Dita McCarthy. I was walking through. I noticed that she was dressed as Wonder Woman. So I stopped. I asked if I could just interview her, ask a couple of questions. And what I learned was that Dita is from Mississippi. She is a part of a group of women who are all Democrats. They all volunteer. They're very active Democrats, but they dress as Wonder Woman and they hand make their costumes and they put like little Democrat symbolism in their costumes. And then, they go out and campaign, they march in parades. They went to Mardi Gras this year and they connected with a group of men who all dress like Chewbacca.
What?
And together, yes, together you had hundreds of Wonder Women and Chewbaccas who are out there telling people that they need to get out and vote.
Wow. I'm a little bit blown away. And I'm picturing it, like you said, imagine Comic-Con. You're right. This is Comic-Con, but in a political environment. Whoa.
Absolutely.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit, Mike. Since you're a theater guru, how is all this DNC buzz impacting the art scene in Chicago? Are local artists getting involved and making their own statements about this political movement?
Yes. I mean, if you go back to 1968, the last time that this event was in Chicago, the same thing happened. You had artists, you had protests, you had all of these things happening. All of that is happening now as well. But there's also John Legend did a show last night. The Daily Show is airing live all week with Jon Stewart. Stephen Colbert is here with The Late Show. They're filming their show here all week. It's free. You can just go. A lot of rumors of Beyonce. I've actually been on Beyonce watch. When we find out where she is, I'm going to try to go and be there.
Mike,
so there's
what? That's so exciting.
I know. I'm just waiting. Look, I've been waiting. Like, as soon as I hear something, I'm there.
Yeah.
But no, it's been fun. Last night I went to an event called Comics for Kamala. And it was all of these comedians who just came, and it was just rapid fire political jokes, and it was hilarious. So there's so much happening outside of it. A lot of people saw Barack and Michelle on TV. Well, like right across the street from the convention, there is the unsanctioned Barack Obama musical.
What?
So I saw a fictional Barack Obama up there singing, and Joe Biden was moonwalking across the stage. It was wild. So the whole city is really geared toward DNC, and there's so much happening.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. I've never seen any of this on TV. I had no idea this type of thing was going on with the Chewbaccas and the Wonder Women and an unsanctioned musical. Were there any good songs in the musical?
Oh, great songs. Great songs. If you want, we can play a clip of How Black Is Too Black.
Yeah. Yes, please.
How black is too black. Oh, how black is too black. How black is too
But no, it was great. The actor that played Barack Obama, T.J. Wilkins, he was on NBC's The Voice season 6. He has an amazing voice. Michelle was played by Shanice. This is a blast from my past. I'm gonna age myself, but on the show Family Matters, Eddie Winslow, he almost became a singer with Shanice. And yeah, she plays Michelle Obama. They both have beautiful voices, but the musical, it is a comedy. It's hilarious.
Oh my gosh. I wish I was there with you, Mike. Okay. Do you think theater intersects with politics? It sounds like kind of clearly there's musicals happening, but I want to know your perspective. How is it intersecting? And do you see that playing out at the DNC in other ways?
I think it's going to play out at the DNC and beyond. I think when you look at theater in particular, these artists are pulling from life and they're taking these things that we're seeing and we're putting them on stage. I'm in the middle of profiling an artist named Tova Wolf. She's a director and founder of Refracted Theater Company here in Chicago. And they were planning on staging a play in October called Coronation. This play takes place in 3 different time periods in 100-year increments in the United States where women cannot become president. And these women are doing, they're figuring out what to do since they can't have this level of power. When Joe Biden dropped out of the race and VP Harris became the candidate, They had to go back with their writer and start adjusting these pages because the world shifted before they staged this play that they were intentionally trying to stage during the election. So theater responds really, really fast to everything that we see in society. So that is definitely happening.
Now that you've experienced your first national political convention, what's your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway is so much of what happens at these conventions will not be televised. There's protests happening. Those are not, you're not going to see that when you turn on your TV and you see the politicians at the podium. So like you have that room full of suits, but if you were to walk out of that door, you're going to see all of the actual people, all of the actual voters, and all of these people are so involved. And I think the common theme of everyone that I talk to, whether it's artists, regular people, the person at the booth selling bootleg Kamala Harris purses, they all just want a better America. People just want to be able to work jobs that give them enough money to pay rent and buy food. We all want the same thing. So I think that's my biggest takeaway, is that we're all the same.
Has it changed your perspective on U.S. politics or the voters who drive it, Mike, being in this environment with all of the wild and crazy things that a lot of us didn't know about? But yeah, what impact has it had on you, on your perspective?
No, I think I'm just as jaded as I've always been. I think so. Like, they had this big vendor expo, and you have 30 Black businesses in the same room, and they're getting all of this national attention for these local Black brands from Chicago, and everybody's excited. But one of the questions that I was asking, asked the organizer, I asked some of the business owners, what happens next? Like, did the Democrats make a new commitment to Black business? Is there a new bridge between that will connect and keep this going? And no one had an answer for me. Everyone said, oh, maybe, we hope so. But it's like, so I think it goes back to your first question, which is political theater. Like, they're putting on this show, but I think in a lot of ways, a lot of people are still waiting for a little bit more substance.
For it to not be performative, but actually follow through.
You nailed it.
Mike Davis is WBEZ's theater reporter and the former KUOW arts and culture reporter. Mike, it's so good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you. Good to see you. Thanks for having me, y'all.
Thanks for listening to Soundside. And hey, this show is only possible because listeners support us. If you are able to give right now, check out the show notes for a link to donate. And don't forget, you can listen live on KUOW 94.9 FM Seattle at noon and 8 p.m., Monday through Thursday, or anytime online at KUOW.org.
Hi there, I'm Monica Guzman, host of A Braver Way podcast and your guide across the political divide. Are you done with the divisiveness in our politics and ready to do something about it? This season, we've partnered with KUOW to reach more listeners like you. Join me as I sit down with guests from across the political spectrum. Together, we'll share tools, insights, and messy, real-life stories to help you face this election year without losing heart. Listen to A Braver Way now on the KUOW app or wherever you get your podcasts.